I will tell a story about a man who was very hungry and poor. The Buddha met him and gave Dhamma discourse out of compassion, and this fellow, poor fellow, became enlightened. So this story starts like this. When the Buddha was in Savatthi, this discourse was given by the Buddha when he was on a preaching mission to Alavi. It was a rural town, 30 miles away from the Savatthi. And one day, as Buddha was meditating every early morning, and he used to scan the world who is able to attain enlightenment. Every morning he used to meditate and see the potential person to whom he could support. So today also it happened that early in the morning, the Buddha sat in the meditation, and by his supernormal power, he surveyed the world, and in his supernormal vision, he saw a picture of a poor person, poor man. He saw further and penetrated that this person is potential to attain enlightenment in this life. Then the Buddha decided to go Alavi, and he started his journey towards Alavi. On the way, the Blessed One went Alavi along with 500 monks. And on the way, he also went for alms round, Pindapata. He collected his meal on the way to Alavi. And as this hungry man, poor fellow, lost his blocks, and he was searching them. During the night, he lost the blocks. So Lord Buddha could see whether he is on time or he can meet on time or not. So again, he survey and see that, yes, he has to be fast, then he can meet him on the time. So the Blessed One, the Buddha, worked fast, and he reached there on the time. Then he saw that person in his supernormal, by his supernatural vision. He saw that this poor fellow is still on searching to the blocks. So it was time of the Buddha for alms meal, as the Buddha eat only one time in a day. And after 12 o'clock, or you can say according to the solar system, noon system, Buddha usually don't eat. So Buddha went out for alms round along with the monks in Alavi. Then there were people who saw the Buddha along with the monks, and they understood, and they managed by themselves and organize a dana for the Buddha and for his disciples. Then Then the Buddha having meal, the Buddha was waiting for this poor fellow. And as after meal, the people usually assemble for listening Dhamma talk from the Buddha. Now, the people were waiting for the Buddha to speak Dhamma, but Buddha was waiting for this poor fellow. These people were watching to the Buddha and thinking, why Buddha is not speaking? Why he is silent? So Buddha was sitting in the silence, and again he saw through his Dibba Chakshu whether this fellow would come on the time or not. Then the Buddha saw that, yes, he will come on the time with the blocks. So he saw like that. At the end, he arrived. When he arrived, then the Lord Buddha asked to the organizers who organized dana for the Buddha and his disciples. Then the Buddha asked him that, is there any food left behind? Then this organizer went for search for food, and they saw some food is left. And they approached to the Buddha and said, reported to the Buddha that yes, there is some food left. Then the Buddha said to that poor fellow, poor man, sit in a clean place and ask food to bring. And the Buddha personally supervising this procedure of arranging food for this poor fellow, poor man. And this food was served to this poor person, and he ate it nicely and became so satisfied. And this poor man thanked to the Buddha, and then the Buddha said, sit down. He washed his hand and sat comfortably. Then the Buddha went to the platform where he usually sit and give Dhamma talk. So the Buddha was went to the platform to give a Dhamma talk. Then there were assembly of the people who are watching this event. Then the people were moved so highly, impressed so highly, overwhelmed, and they thought, oh, how compassionately the Buddha waiting for this poor fellow, for this poor man, before it never happened in the future. They were thinking like this. Then these people were so touched with the Buddha's what happened. And then the Buddha delivered a talk, and he uttered a gatha, a poem in the Pāli language. He said, he uttered this gatha, I will recite this gatha, then I will translate, then I will also read out the translation. He said, Jigacha paramaroga sankhara paramadukha etang nyatva yatha bhutang nibbanang paramang sukhang. Translation of this gatha is, hunger is the worst disease and conditioned existence the worst suffering. Knowing this as it really is, the wise realize Nibbana, the highest bliss. After delivering this gatha, this poor man became enlightened. he attained stream enterer, the very first stage of enlightenment. Then there were also monks. Monks were thinking, oh, so Buddha made everyone waiting for this poor man, as if this man is entire audience. So Buddha became aware of those thoughts of the monks, and Buddha approached them and he said, monks, see, this poor man was potential enough to attain enlightenment, the very first stage of enlightenment, Sotapanna. And that is why I did so. And it is my responsibility. Buddha responds to the monks who were not happy that Buddha made everyone waiting for this person, poor person. Even Buddha can start Dhamma talk before this person, but he made everyone to wait. So Buddha responds like that, that it is his duty to transform him, to make him realize Nibbana. Nibbana is freedom from birth and death. There will be no birth and death. So this is how the Buddha, out of compassion, was waiting for this poor man, and he made this wonderful Dhamma talk to realize this poor person, poor man, to realize Nibbana. So now we can understand the meaning of Jigacha Paramaroga. Word by word we can understand. Jigacha means hunger. Paramaroga means hunger is the worst disease. There is no disease equal to hunger. This is commentary says. Sankhara Paramadukha. Sankhara Paramadukha means, as Buddha said, Sankhara Paramadukha, which means condition existence is the worst suffering. What is this condition existence? We have this body and mind. To keep feeding this body, to keep protecting this body is suffering, Buddha said. So we have to protect it from sun, from wind, from mosquitoes, from disease. And also we have to protect our consciousness, feelings, mental activities. We don't want to become suffer from any unpleasant objects, unpleasant object of whether it is visible or audible or smell or taste or tangible object. Or if you have any unpleasant feelings, you don't want them. To manage, to not suffer, we usually keep protect our body and mind. I don't want to listen any unpleasant sound. This is a kind of feeling. And we don't want to have any painful feelings or any mosquitoes or any heatness. So we have to protect our body and mind. Protecting body and mind, feeding body and mind with a good object, pleasant object, avoiding unpleasant object is condition existence. What the Buddha said here. Condition existence is the worst suffering, the Buddha said. And then he said, knowing this as it really is, a wise person who understands this very clearly, that hunger is worst disease, and maintaining this body and mind is worth suffering. When a wise man understands like this, he realizes Nibbana. Nibbana, among all the happiness in the world, among all the happiness, Nibbana happiness is the foremost, is the highest bliss, Nibbana. So, the wise man reflect or contemplating body and mind as suffering, they realize the highest bliss, the highest happiness. So this is how the meaning of this gatha is. So people who meditate and seeing things as they are, body and mind, two different things, but when they come together, they act as a single. When you meditate and distinguish them separately, and you try to see what is mind and what is body, and how this body works and how this body works and how this mind works, you see them very clearly, then the understanding of body and mind will arise. This is what the Buddha said, samadhi, the right understanding about body and mind. When we see this reality, then we will not be in the trap of illusion, wrong understanding. Whatever the sound comes, whatever the object comes, or whatever the smell comes, or whatever feelings you are experiencing, you can see them as very different things. They are meeting to each other. Because of meeting to each other, mind and object with the body, the object meet to the mind. When these two things meeting each other, then liking and disliking arises, then anger arises, then craving arises. It is not just because of one single object. The object, when meet with the mind, then this liking and disliking arises, anger arises, craving arises. You can see them very, very clearly, and this is how the understanding arises. So here, seeing like this, a wise person attain Nibbana. And Nibbana is pure freedom from birth and death, because it will cut off these cravings, angers, liking, disliking. We are in this world because of this liking, disliking, cravings, anger. When a practitioner experience this mind and body and how the mind and body works, they will realize Nibbana, as this gatha convey the meaning. So with this, I would like to conclude this talk with the blessings and metta, and we can meet next Sunday, and we can again meditate and listen Dhamma talk. With this, I conclude here with the blessings and metta. Sabbitiyo vivajjantu sabbarogo vinasatu mate bhavatu antarayo sukhi digayo ko bhava bhavatu sabba mangalam rakhantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sabba dhammanubhavena sabba sanghanubhavena sada sutti bhavantu te. May you all beings be happy, peaceful. May you all be safe and secure from dangers and accident. May you all be happy and peaceful. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.